Hello, everyone. Today we will be doing a very interesting podcast with this year's topper, that is Neelesh Goyal. Welcome, Neelesh.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, Neelesh has scored rank 77 this year. So, now, I have been in contact with so many UPSC aspirants. So, the initial questions usually are what to study, what not to study, and there is a lot of chatter all around that this is important, this is not important. So, the best way to start or give a direction to your preparation is take advice from people who have already cleared the exam. Because the advantage here is that you get a filtered knowledge, right? You don't waste your time and you know that this is something which shortly will work out for you. So, keeping these things in mind, today Neelesh will be talking about his UPSC journey, and also we will be talking with a special focus on sociology optional because he's sociology topper. He has scored 293 marks. So, we will be covering all these aspects in today's podcast. So let's get into this. Okay. So Neelesh, can you start with telling a little bit about your UPSC journey? What motivated you, and how did you decide that I want to now start preparing for this exam?
Ma'am, I'm pass out of 2018. After that, I was doing a job in PSU BHL. So there was no such motivation from college days. But once job got monotonous, so I was looking for an alternative career. So civil services seemed a best alternative to me. Luckily, I got through in second attempt. But the thing was, I wanted a better option because I was getting good pay in PSU. I was getting all the facilities, but I wanted a career that was satisfying, a career that gave me the potential to help people, to give back to the society that I come from. So I think that's why I got the motivation to pursue civil services.
Okay. So I think you are true, very right in this form that civil service, the kind of job diversification which it provides, that it's unparalleled. No other profession will provide you that.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So, when you started your preparation, what was your vision, long term vision, like how you will be studying, or, how will you be choosing your optional? Will come a little later on. With respect to GS, what was your initial vision that, okay, I will start with this and, this will be part of my preparation?
Ma'am, broadly speaking, I had decided that maximum I will give 3 attempts only. After that, if it does not work out, I will go back to the job. So this thing was there. Then I had listened to so many topper talk, and all of them said that we need to limit our resources, we need to revise multiple times, we need to take guidance from syllabus and PYQ. So for GS, I had syllabus. In prelims, syllabus is only 7 or 8 lines, but in mains, detailed syllabus is there. So that was my guidelines. Then I had PYQs. In mains especially, we can make out certain themes. These themes will be repeated. Almost 50-60% of paper is already decoded. Then you cover the current affairs, almost whole of the paper is covered. So in that way, I completed my GS syllabus. Coming to choice of optional, ma'am. In 2018, I had left mechanical engineering. In 23, I started preparation. So it was a 5 years gap. I was not comfortable with mechanical engineering because it has a long syllabus. I could not have completed it in 12 months. Syllabus I would have covered, but balancing it with GS, it would have been very difficult. So I found an optional that was short in length to cover. It was scoring and it was interesting for me as well. So socio and anthro both have limited syllabus. They are interesting also, but for me sociology was more relatable because we live in society, we can relate to topics. Then I saw this PYQs also, so it seemed approachable. That's why I took it, ma'am.
I think the thing with socio is, anyhow, at the end of the day, you will be working with the society, and it's not just, its work doesn't just stop once you get a rank. It is very relevant once you become a civil servant also.
Yes, ma'am. We have to deal with social problems. So better we understand, better we will be able to tackle it.
Yes, that's true. So, leaving this socio for a few minutes, if I talk about the GS preparation, how would you say that, answer writing is, an important part of the preparation, and how did you approach answer writing?
Ma'am, in mains we have 1750 marks. Interviews only 275. So you have to score as much as you can from 1750, and that will decide everything. In my interview, I have only 155, but in mains it is 835. That's why I'm sitting here today, ma'am. So answer writing is very important, ma'am. And only thing I can advise to people: start writing. People do not start writing and they fear that I do not know how to write. How will I do the value addition? Well, a lot of things they worry without even starting the writing part. You just have to start writing. Everything will go on.
Yes, I think there is a myth also, every aspirant, when I was also preparing and I cleared the exam, that, once my preparation becomes perfect, then I'll start writing answer. And that perfect time never comes. You just have to start somewhere. You write a bad answer, you write a worst answer, it's okay. But as long as you are writing something, you will improve.
And I have heard from someone, ma'am, perfection is the enemy in this preparation.
Yes.
You can never be perfect, you can never complete the whole syllabus. Whatever thing you have planned, for example, you have weekly target or monthly target, you cover that topic, start writing answer for that. Even if you have not joined any mock test series, take out PYQ and start writing.
So it's just boils down to that, you don't have to be the best, you have to be better than the other people who are prepared, writing the exam. Yes. Okay. So coming back on the, preparation, there are usually phases where you feel very demotivated, you start questioning yourself whether I'm capable for this exam or am I going in the right direction. So what kept you motivated throughout your journey? And you were a working professional also, and in your first attempt, so there was a lot of work burden also, and you had to balance the preparation also. What kept you going?
Ma'am, my family was the moral support behind me. Whenever I could not complete any weekly target or I am not getting desired marks in test series, I am not improving in last test, so I will feel demotivated. I'll call up my family and they will always suggest me कि just keep doing the hard work, you will eventually get there. मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि नहीं हो रहा है, I am not able to do it, मेरे को पता है नहीं होगा. They will tell me कि नहीं, you just keep doing it, we know you will get there. So I think having a moral support is very much essential in this examination. It can be your family, it can be your friends, or it can be spiritual guidance. So in any form, if you have moral support, take it.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good point which all the aspirants should take. Like, your family and your friends, don't shy away when you're feeling low, because this is a journey which is mentally very taxing in nature, and usually we don't talk about it. And I feel that should be a part of your preparation, where you talk to people, you discuss your challenges and struggles without feeling shy or feeling embarrassed that, okay, I cannot do this.
Ma'am, I tell my friends, rather than going on social media, you connect with real people. Rather than isolating yourself from friends and family, talk to them. Don't spend unrational amount of time, but spend at least to get that moral support, spend some time. And do not be on social media if that's what it takes.
That's true. Social media, I think your attention span, your concentration, it interferes with that. So it's better you stay off it and be there in the real life. That's much better. Okay. So now we'll try to understand few things about sociology. Like Neelesh has already given a brief, background about it. So we will try to elaborate on sociology. So, I would like to ask, like, when you were choosing sociology, if you could just enumerate few points which you kept in mind that, okay, this is going to be the subject for me for, next attempts. Like, you decided you'll give only 3 attempts. Like, for these 3 attempts, this will be my thing. So what were those few points which you kept in mind and which motivated you that, okay, sociology will be my thing now?
Ma'am, while choosing the optional, I had 3 criteria. One was my interest, whether I can continue with this subject for 12 or 24 or 36 months. Second thing was scoring, whether this subject is scoring or not. Sociology has been decently performing in last 10 years, so it was a good to go subject for me. And third thing was volume of syllabus. In what amount of time I am able to cover this syllabus. So what I realized, 4 to 5 months are sufficient for sociology. In pre to mains, you do sufficient answer writing. Before December, you spend 4 to 5 months, sociology is done. So these 3 points all were green for me for sociology, so I went ahead with this. After taking sociology, ma'am, I had this philosophy. Anil Kumble sir once said, I take the decision. Those decisions may be right or wrong, but I make it a point that I'll prove them right. So once we have taken this sociology optional, now it was my job to work in right direction so that I prove that I have chosen correct optional. So for that, I limited the resources. I looked at PYQ for any guidance, and I did sufficient answer writing practice.
Okay, nice. Okay, let's talk about the main sources which you used for paper one and paper two. What were your sources?
Ma'am, I started with Harlamos and Holborn, the thick book. With that book, I built my understanding, and I made my topic-wise notes from that book for paper one. For paper two, ma'am, I did not refer to any particular book, but in 2020, one topper was there, so her notes were available in the market. So I too took those notes and I built upon those. From newspaper, I added value-added material to these notes and used them.
Okay, so Haralambus, can you like give a little bit a detailed thing? Did you did a selective study, or did you, because students they usually get afraid that it's a very thick blue book that I have to read every chapter there. So that's not the correct way to read Haralambus. If you can elaborate on that.
Ma'am, it is not possible to read the book cover to cover. Only selected study of Arlambos is recommended. Many toppers on their Telegram channels had recommended these many chapters only we have to study. That I followed, and I think that helped me, ma'am.
Okay. If I talk about note making, what was your approach with respect to note making, and how much time did you devote for sociology note making practice?
Ma'am, for sociology, I had 4 to 5 months. In those 4 to 5 months, every day I was spending around 40 to 50% of my time of whole preparation. So, in that time, for paper one, I made notes from Harlambos topic wise. Whatever topics are given in syllabus, on those topics I made notes. Whatever, because in syllabus broad topics are given. Whatever micro themes are not covered from PYQ, I will pick up and add to my notes. For paper two, I already had toppers notes. In that, I added value by inserting some papers. So all in all, ma'am, I made a basic notes. I left around 25% of the page empty so that I can add value added material later. And at the time of examination, 10 days before the examination, I made some micro notes which included name of thinkers. There are certain keywords like Marx had alienation, this Srinivas has dominant caste. So those kind of keywords I added, certain definitions I added so that I can use them in introduction and conclusion. So I could read one day before the examination or 1 hour before the examination, and I could reproduce better.
Yes. So I think notes is more about you can recollect things very quickly. Usually students do what, they do replication of the book itself. Their own notes will be 100, 400 pages. I think that's a, practice which is just waste of time.
Exactly, ma'am. Because notes are made so that we have our own language, our own handwriting, so that recognition and reproduction becomes better. If you are reproducing the book in your notes, then what is the use?
And in your notes, you referred, that you made ready-made introductions, etc. How did it help you to, write your answer and all these things?
Ma'am, I did not have this rigid approach ki every question I will start with this introduction or that. But for certain themes, for example, any caste-based question is there, then I have this Bete's introduction, Bete's conclusion, or Srinivas's conclusion. Then similarly in paper 1 or paper 2, on certain themes, I had certain introductions ready, because if you are not having anything else, then giving a standard definition in your introduction is always better. So that I prepared, ma'am.
Okay. So if we talk about current affairs importance in sociology paper, so can you talk about it, like how current affair add the dynamic part and also lead to better marks, if you are including the dynamic part as well?
Ma'am, I'll give an example. In GS, we are suggested to read books that are up to class 12th level only. But in sociology or any other optional, we are recommended books that are of graduation. So the person who is checking our answer scripts, he is having 20-25 years experience in this subject. If he or she does not feel that you have really depth knowledge, you have understood the concept and then applied it in your answer, he is not going to give you marks. So adding current affair examples indicates that you have understood the concept and you are using that to understand the present society. For example, ma'am, recently Kumbh Mela was organized, so 65 crores people went there. So it can be used an example of revival of religion, or rise of Trump-Musk nexus in US. That can be used an example of elite rule. So using current affairs example in sociology indicates that you have a good understanding and it will fetch you good marks, no doubt about that, ma'am.
I think you can apply those examples only if you have understood the basic static part. Otherwise, those examples will never make sense to you.
Yes, ma'am. And what people are doing, ma'am, they are whatever examples teachers have written in the notes, they are reproducing them. Those may not be current examples. Those may be example of 2.5 years back. Compared to you, now some person is writing example that has happened in 2-3 months back. Examiner will really be impressed, ma'am.
That's true. I mean, like, it's at the end of the day, it's a fight of that one extra mark. And if everybody is writing the same example, then your answer is about, average only. If you write something which has happened very recently, obviously you'll get more marks. And, there is always a confusion between that, in the answer writing, that I don't have enough thinkers to quote, or, especially in paper two, that, I don't have enough thinkers. So there is this myth in aspirants that every line there has to be a thinker. So can you tell about this, perspective that, okay, what is the importance of quoting thinkers? And usually students overthink about it and even sometimes overdo quoting the thinkers, and it becomes more about what XYZ thinker said and not their perspective about social.
Yes, ma'am. This is a mistake people do, ma'am. They do not write what is asked in the question. They write what they know. They try to push thinkers in the answer. So that leaves an impression with the examiner that he does not understand what is being asked. He is writing notes simply. So why he'll give marks? What I used to do, ma'am, especially in paper 2. In paper 1, we'll be asked theoretical questions. For example, in 24 paper, it was asked that what are the basic and irreplaceable function of Parson, or what is the concept of alienation by mass. So in paper 2, applied question will be asked. So in those questions, what I used to do, I will make arguments just like a GS paper. Ki in this question, for example, what is the change in caste system in India, or why it is not getting replaced. So I will prepare certain arguments, and what thinkers theory is supporting that argument, I will quote that. If we do not have, like in paper 2, we have Srinivas Bete, certain standard thinkers, but apart from them also in newspaper editorials, there are Pratap Bhanu Mehta, Christopher Jeffalot, Ashutosh Vasne, Suraj Ingde. So many people are writing articles. So when we are reading newspaper, we have read certain argument, we can quote them also. So I think there is no dearth of thinkers, but you have to quote whenever it is relevant. Unnecessarily, if you think, examiner will be irritated and he will not.
So basically, to validate your point, you quote a thinker, not just only thinkers in your answer.
People do other way around. They quote a thinker and then write argument. You write an argument substantiated by quoting a thinker.
So, now you have cleared that you have scored 293, which is a very good score in, sociology. I always say that your optional makes or breaks your chance of clearing exam. That's very, very important. So, now you have cleared, you have scored good marks. So, what are the things you think you could have done a little better or in a different way, or things which worked out for you?
Ma'am, first talking about positive things, what worked out for me. During writing mock answers, I put importance on one thing, that whether I'm writing relevant answers or not. If I'm quoting too many thinkers or keywords, I did not emphasize, but whether I'm writing to the point and my presentation is good or not. From Toposcopy, I did not pick up the content, but I pick up this skill, ki how to write an answer that is to the point, relevant and looks good. So that thing I did better, ma'am. I kept my resources to the minimum. Even if you check my notes, ma'am, it is largely from Harlambos paper 1 and paper 2 still Topos notes I am carrying. So these are the things I did in right way. Things I did not do in a correct manner was I took too many test series and I could not write them completely. I would suggest to the students, ma'am, ki you take only one test series but write it completely. You incorporate any input given by your mentor so that you can become better with every test. Second, ma'am, before prelims, I did not do any answer writing. I could have done that. At least PYQs I should have completed before prelims. So these two things, if I have to give it again, I will improve these things.
So coming on the answer writing part, can you elaborate on its importance and how much answer writing you suggest to the aspirants that this is the bare minimum you should be doing? Because at the end of the day, in the mains examination, and answer writing is your major tool in this battle. You cannot do without answer writing. So what is your thoughts, and how did you approach answer writing?
Ma'am, biggest mistake that people do, they do not start writing the answers. They think that I have to complete the syllabus, then you just complete a topic, then pick up the PYQ or just pick up a sectional mock and write those answers. First thing you can do this. Second thing, ma'am, initially you may not meet the demand of the question. You may not do a lot of value addition. So try to improve upon those things. When I wrote my first test, majorly my comments were, these are not relevant things or you are not meeting the demand of the question. So I tried to improve that. So you need to write till the point that your remarks from the evaluator is not like this key demand is not being met or that. And value addition you can always improve. So value addition is not a problem, only meeting the demand. Until you meet that requirement, you have to do the answer writing.
Okay. So for the aspirants, the takeaway is start from somewhere. Write a bad answer, write a worst answer, it's okay. But until and unless you are not writing, you will never know that you are on the right path or you can actually write something. Okay. So as we are on the answer writing part, can you tell about the importance of PYQs and especially in the optional paper, how previous year questions are important?
Ma'am, I'll go to this extent. Then if you have covered your basic books and you have covered last 10 or 15 years PYQ, you need not do anything else in sociology. One or two random questions will be there. Every year these questions are there. But more than 90% of your paper will be covered from these two things. So one thing is syllabus completion. Second thing is you get to know how to write answers, because you see PYQ, either you brainstorm them and match it with model answers, or you write and show it to your mentor or your senior. So you will get to know whether you are going in right direction or not. So to that extent it is helpful. Again, ma'am, in syllabus we do not know on which part how much emphasis should be put. So PYQ shows us that direction, that these topics are asked frequently, so we need to put more effort on these topics.
So basically, if you see the previous year question, you realize one thing, that every year same questions get repackaged and asked. Yes. So you actually know 70 to 80% of your paper is done if you're doing previous year questions only. And can you tell me about the importance of guidance or a mentor in the preparation for optional as well as for GS?
Ma'am, it's like having an elder brother who has completed UPSC journey, because you are writing something. Unless until some other person is checking your answers and giving you feedback, you will not know how to improve. You will not know where you are committing a mistake. So if a person is guiding you, this journey becomes easier.
Winding up this podcast, if someone is giving next year's attempt, what are the few important points, tips and caveats you want to give to them that, okay, this is very, very important if you're starting your journey?
Ma'am, for starting, if you are just starting this journey, then start with basic books. If you are not able to comprehend them, start with NCRTs. NCRTs are not for the academic purpose, just for getting an understanding of this concept, and go to standard books. Then start answer writing. For paper, I would say if you do these three things, you will able to get good marks. Proper time management so that you can complete the paper. Relevant answers, writing what is asked, not what you know. And making answers so that copy looks good. Examiner does not get stress in checking your copy. If you do these three things, you will certainly get good marks in sociology.
So that was very insightful. Thank you so much, Neelesh, to giving your expert knowledge about the exam. So this was all about your GS preparation from a person who has cleared the exam, of kind of a filtered knowledge, what to do, what things are important. I hope this podcast will help out all the aspirants. Now, in the description box, we are also putting up an open session which Neelesh will be taking today itself about GS preparation and sociology, and he will be taking up some questions from the students also. So you can go to the link in the description box. Thank you. Thank you so much.